Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Mayorga, and I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas or a Happy Holiday, however it is that you celebrate it, and Happy Hanukkah. If any of you are there, celebrate Hanukkah also. And I just have been thinking about different topics that I'm always interested in doing little videos about. And this one is going to be on toxic relationships, a detrimental connection. That's how I'm going to title this. And it actually is going to be a series. Probably I'll do two or three more because it's quite a list of different identities that indicate that somebody is in a toxic relationship. And so instead of trying to do one big video, which could run into maybe 30 or 45 minutes, I'm just going to do it in increments of 15 minutes a piece. And then you can come back and look at the others. For today, I'm going to talk about the first two behaviors that somebody that is behaves in a toxic manner uh, engages in with their significant other. And this really is about us if we're in a toxic relationship, what we need to be aware of and what we need to be looking at, and some of the behaviors that a toxic person will engage in with their significant other that creates all sorts of problems. And so, what I really wanted to do was start out with defining what a toxic relationship is, what the word detrimental means, because as a counselor educator and someone that understands the importance of research and working with facts rather than just off the top of my head. And if I have an opinion, I'm going to say that it's opinion, that this is an opinion, but this is not. This is research that is out there, actually done by someone named Olivia Guy Evans, and from Simple Psychology. And as a counselor educator and as a psychotherapist, I do like to give credit where credit is due. Plagiarism is a big no-no in our profession and a lot of professions, and I certainly don't want to engage in anything like that. That doesn't mean that some of my own thoughts and ideas are going to seep into the video. So why don't we go ahead and start by just simply defining what a toxic relationship is. And when we're in a toxic relationship, we can immediately begin, maybe not immediately, it takes us a while sometimes, unless we're really aware and understand all of this prior to becoming involved in a relationship. We normally kind of wonder if there's something going on here when we're in a relationship that we would call toxic. And the definition that is out there about the toxic relationship is if there's if this relationship is making you feel unsupported or misunderstood, demeaned or attacked all the time, because sometimes those behaviors will occur in any relationship. We lose our temper, we say things we don't mean, or we shout it out there, and then afterwards we're remorseful, we feel shameful, we feel guilty, and we try to um, make it better. We go and apologize and we do whatever we can. Okay, that's not really much of a toxic relationship. That's just kind of things that happen in a relationship. But when you have these kinds of behaviors in a relationship that would be considered toxic, it's there all the time. Okay, so it is a relationship where your well-being is being threatened. I mean, oh, I'm around this guy, person, man, woman, they, him, her, um, they, and you're always wondering if they're going to say something, criticize you, make you, think that there's something wrong with you, gaslight you, all those kinds of things. Okay, and it's a kind of abuse. It can be either emotional, psychological, it can be physical, because there is physical abuse in toxic relationships also. And it's certainly in contrast to what we would call a healthy relationship, where there's a lot of mutual respect, a sense of equality, open and honest communication, trust and loyalty, and also a supportive and encouraging behavior. It sure is wonderful to be involved in a relationship and you've just done something fantastic at work or at school or whatever, and you come and share it with your significant other, and they're like, they're your cheerleaders, and you feel wonderful because they understand, or they're just so proud for you, not of you, but proud for you that you are have been able to accomplish whatever it is that you've accomplished. Okay, so that is a good definition of what is and isn't a toxic relationship. And then I'm also putting the word detrimental connection in the title, so I wanted to define that. Uh, and detrimental is something that is damaging to you, or it's harmful to a person. So, oh, that relationship is detrimental to your health, to your emotional health. It's going to be harmful. It's something that we shouldn't be doing. Or eating 10 pieces of cake, that's going to be detrimental to your health. And it's something that we should not be engaging in. So the word detrimental, when I put it together in this toxic relationship, it indicates that it's something that's going to be harmful. It's a connection that is not going to be enjoyable per se. It might start out because you're excited, and then it begins to make you feel really bad about what's going on. Okay. So, um, the impact of a toxic relationship is that it causes a lot of emotional distress. It erodes your self-esteem and it hinders your personal growth. And personal growth, I'm huge about personal growth. We have what I call professional growth and personal growth. And how can I grow as a person if I'm being battered or hammered on the head all the time? And this is metaphorically, not uh, for real. Uh, how can I engage in personal growth instead of me growing as a person? I'm shrinking as a person because I just can't figure out what's going on. One of the things about being in a toxic relationship is you're always second guessing yourself. Is it me? Is it really, what did I do? And you begin to search around to see what you can do better to make sure that this person that you're with does not treat you that way. And yet, no matter what you do, in fact, I use the analogy that when you're involved in a toxic relationship, you could stand on your head because they want you to stand on your head for 15 minutes and they'll tell you everything will be okay. And when you get up after being on your head for 15 minutes, they're going to ask you for 15 minutes more. It's never going to be enough. There's always going to be something that they want you to do or believe that you're doing or make you believe that it's something that it's all on you. Okay. In the long run, it'll be a damaging situation for anyone that's involved in this. So it can be abusive, and it can be very subtle, and it might end up scratching your heads. Like I said, what did I do? You know, boy, everything I thought was fine, and then this person walks in, and everything falls apart, and now I'm examining myself. This the interesting thing about it because certain people get drawn to toxic relationships, and so this is connected, where we begin to examine ourselves constantly. Is it me? Is it me? Well, maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that. We never look out that way and say, well, there's nothing wrong with this person here that doesn't seem right. Uh, and we also have to ask ourselves if we are, what draws us? What draws us to a person that is toxic? A lot of times that means we're having to really examine a lot of things about ourselves that we may not want to examine and we haven't wanted to examine that tends to draw us. And I'll talk about that later, the type of people that tend to be drawn into these kinds of relationships. So I wanted to to discuss the signs that you need to look at or that are in front of us. So when you're in a relationship or thinking about uh, going into a relationship, there are certain signs that you need to look at or review or think about. So let's look at some of these signs of a toxic relationship. And I'm just going to talk about the first two. And like I said, there's seven. And next week I'll do the next one and then the next one. And because it gets very, very involved and there's a lot of information. And I just, don't want to overtax anybody about giving them a lot of information over 30 or 45 minutes. This is not a presentation that way. It's just a little snippet of information that you can take, utilize, put it aside, don't think about it. You don't want to listen to it, whatever. or share it with somebody. Okay, the very first sign that is there is the feeling that you're not supported. It's let's define unsupported. Not we're not, we don't verify it. It's not substantiated. In other words, I know that this is a fact, and that other person says no, that you're wrong, that this is not it, that it's not that way. And so you begin to maybe second guess yourself, even though the information might be in front of you. You ever talk to anybody like that? You have facts and you're sharing the facts, and what they have is opinion. And they believe that that opinion is facts, and they fight you, and then at the end you're like, well, maybe, wow, I looked at all of this, and there's a lot of facts about this, but hey, maybe they're right and I'm wrong, and all and again you're second guessing yourself, and so they're not supportive in any way, even with the information that you bring. Another thing, when we're in a significant where we're in a relationship with a significant other, we do want somebody to pat us on the back. I can pat myself on the back a lot. I'm very good at it. I know what I can do, and I know my abilities. I like my significant other to come along and say, "Oh man, that was fantastic! You did a great job. Oh, you really know your stuff." It kind of pumps me up and it makes me feel good. And we're taught that we should learn to feel good ourselves and be our own persons. But it's always nice when somebody else comes along. Hey, when you get an award, when you graduate from high school, when you graduate from college, everybody's around you saying you did a good job, that was wonderful, and it pumps you up. But when you're in a toxic relationship, that doesn't happen. Their job is to bring you down, to erode your self-confidence. You're also in a toxic relationship. You don't have anybody to share what's going on. Nobody, the person doesn't want to listen to your problems. And one of the ways that we tend to deal with our issues is to verbalize, to process it. And so if you're in a significant relationship and your partner is a toxic person, and no matter what you say or do, they blow it off. Oh, it's in your head. It's not important. Oh, you're always bringing that up. Oh, get over it. You know how frustrating that is for someone to tell you to get over something that is it's a major issue that you're dealing with, and you want somebody to at least uh, bounce it off of, and they don't give you that kind of support. Again, they're not your cheerleaders when you reach a goal. And I can remember when I graduated from my undergrad, man, I had all the family there. And then when I graduated with my graduate degree, and then when I graduated with my PhD, I mean, I have pictures and I can see the happiness on my face, and everybody's just clustered around me. And that was a big goal for me. Pardon me. This was a dream that I'd had for a long time. And my husband worked for the railroad and he was gone a lot. Yet he gave me what I call, I had the freedom, pardon me, but I also had two children and two daughters. And he was very available and helpful. And I had a lot of homework. I had to go to the library. And he was one that was my a big cheerleader for me to reach my goal. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And to have that in our lives from our significant other is necessary for us to sometimes just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Okay, and I use the word they boost you up. They give you this feeling of it's all going to be okay. You'll get through this. It's not going to be bad, so on and so forth. So if you're feeling extremely unsupported in your relationship, you might want to examine it. Is that an internal thing for you? Or is this something that no matter how hard you try to present it to your significant other, there's no validation, there's no support, there's no cheerleading, there's no patting on the back. They dismiss you. They tell you that you talk about it all the time, so get over it. I had somebody say that to me, not personally, but somebody shared with me they were going through a really tough time, and they went to their significant other, and the significant other was just got angry and said, "You just need to get over it." And of course, that was very devastating to that person that was speaking to me. Because I tell you, if we could get over it, we would. Some things are very difficult to get over, especially when you're carrying trauma and issues that have been very traumatic to you as a person. Okay. Uh, so again, we can be that way with each other sometime in our humanity, but if it's only happening to you in this relationship, that you might want to examine that relationship. And the second one that I'm going to talk to you about is toxic communication. And like I said, there's actually one, two, three, four, five more that I will be speaking to in the next couple of weeks, which includes distrust, disrespect, controlling behavior, walking on eggshells, and neglected needs. But it would extend this into a bigger a video. So the next, those will come in the next couple of weeks. Like next week, I'll do distrust and disrespect. Then the week after that, I'll do controlling behavior and walking on eggshells. And then I'll finish it off with neglected needs and, do a little bit of a conclusion. But this next one is toxic communication. And boy, have you ever been around somebody that's always sarcastic? Or always answers with sarcastic remark, or always answers. Say you ask a question, they always come back with another question, and they just never engage in communication, in a dialogue. They're always either sideswiping you or acting as if what you're going to say is not important. Are extremely critical. No matter what comes out, no matter what you're putting on the table, it's criticized. Maybe you're thinking about, well, I'll use myself as an example. What I told my partner, I think I'm going to do some videos, and there's another outlet for me because I always have a lot of thoughts and ideas, and I enjoy it. And he was very, very supportive. I think that's a great idea. Oh my gosh, that's going to be awesome because you have a lot of information you can share, and it pumped me up. And if I, it's not the pumping up gave me the boost to go ahead and do it. And so I do it occasionally. I'll do it sporadically, but that's my thing. And he'll ask me, oh, have you done another video? I say, not yet. I'll get around to it. But he's very, very supportive. But what if I had said to him, I'm thinking about doing this, and I do have a lot of knowledge. I have got more than 25 years of experience as a counselor, 20 years as a counselor educator. I've taught so many things, and no matter what I present to him, it's a criticize. I do a lot of presentations. I go to conferences. In fact, I've got three conferences coming up in February where I'm going to do presentations about different topics. And so he's always been very supportive. He goes with me and he stays in the hotel room. And I mean, it's just this I'm there, he's there for me for all of that. Okay. But what if it wasn't? Would I have gotten to the point where I am now? I probably would have fizzled out. So again, the extreme criticism, no matter what you do, if you put your hair up, if you cut your hair, if wearing a new suit or a new dress, or getting ready for a presentation for your job that could mean a promotion, and it's constantly criticized. Okay, and then you're again, the thing is that we look inward rather than outward. We look at ourselves. There must be something wrong with me. What do I need to do to fix it? And we become a fixer, thinking that that will change everything, and that that person will begin to see the goodness and the experience and the quality and all of that, and it doesn't happen. The criticism just continues to be there. And again, the sarcastic remarks, and then they blow it off and say, well, I was just joking. You can't take a joke. But it's constant all the time. Oh, I've been around couples that do that, where the wife will be talking maybe to a group of people at a party or something like that, and the husband will come along and make just a really harsh, sarcastic remark. And the people that the person is speaking to are shocked. Yet the person that it's happened to, be the wife or the husband, they blow it off, or they say, "Oh, he or she has been drinking," or they had a hard day at work, or something like that. There's this constant little excuses. And we find ourselves making excuses for the way people behave. There's a problem. Okay, we're not willing to see what's really in front of us. And the day that we finally do see that there's something not good with this relationship, then we have the hard decision of making a decision about what we're going to do. We're going to stay Are we going to fight it? Are we going to leave? And so it's a difficult thing to be in when you're in a toxic relationship, and it can demolish who you are as a human person. Okay? Another one is it's always your fault. Uh, you see this with perpetrators that are abusive or domestic violence. You know, they abuse because it's that person's fault. Okay, and so in a toxic relationship, it's your fault. It's your fault that I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's your fault that this is happening, and it's your fault and your fault. And the majority of the time, people will look into themselves and say, "Well, what could I have done different?" Um, and so again, these are things that you need to think about that you may know of someone or even ourselves. I can say that I knew this couple first 20 years of their marriage. This the wife saw herself as the problem, that everything that was going on in the fights, the way things were going, the relationship was her fault. At the end of the 20 years, she had an epiphany, and boy, it really opened her eyes. And it she ended up leaving her significant other. And one of the things that she stated to this her significant other was that how how dare he allow her to believe for 20 years that everything that had happened in the relationship was her fault. By the time she exited the relationship, she was devastated. So, a shadow of her former self. This was a woman who was very uh, strong in the sense of being smart, having great thoughts, a great communicator. By the time that she left the relationship, she just thought that she was nothing. And so, living with a toxic person like that can demolish the integrity of a person. And that's something that we really have to think about. Okay. Uh, they're passive aggressive. They gaslight you. Uh, you end up feeling confused and ultimately questioning what you would call your own sanity. I mean, is it, am I, what's going on? Maybe it's all my fault. And we're kind of an enlightened society. We like to think that we're an enlightened society. And yet you see this occurring a lot. I would, I would challenge all of you to think about what you've seen out there, and you may know of several people that are in a toxic relationship that aren't even aware. Or I've been around a lot of people where they make up many excuses for the person that they're with, when I am seeing that this is a toxic relationship. And somebody that makes a lot of excuses for another person, or a lot of excuses for themselves to allow that person to treat them that way, uh, they're pretty much in a what I call a toxic relationship. So anyway, oh, I went over my 15 minutes, but I thought I had to finish this two sections off. And I hope that you enjoy this. And if you do, make sure you subscribe, or you know, follow me. And next week, I will do another video on the next two, which is distrust and disrespect in the relationship. Thank you.